you're
Yeah.
a modern day. You're going around giving clinics, giving concerts yourself now. Are you
Yeah.
a jazz ambassador at this point? Is that what you're telling me? Like,
Tech, yeah. I mean, the Jazz Ambassador thing was really cool. And if you don't know what that is, check it out. You can literally Google Jazz Ambassadors, like a Wikipedia page about it. But it started back in the 50s, and people like, you had these great, amazing artists, Louis Armstrong, Dizzy Gillespie, these people who were like the first jazz ambassadors, and the government would send them out to these areas to basically show like, hey, look, we're the United States. We have it all together. And we totally did not have it together. Like the U.S. had all sorts of terrible things going on with segregation and everything else, but they would send these artists out to literally their goal was to improve the image of the U.S. And luckily, since then, that same line of funding has existed in the government and even through this administration right now. And we had the opportunity to go a couple of years ago, and we made it as what the jazz ambassadors, they call cultural ambassadors now. They open it up to all different genres. But we went out to Costa Rica, Mexico, and we're able to teach and play, which is what I love. Those two things are my passions kind of combined. So that was a really neat, really amazing, fulfilling opportunity. And what I learned from that was just, I went into this thing thinking like, okay, we're going to go to these places and show people what we do and teach these things. But I feel like I ended up learning, learning more from that than I probably gave. Like it was this huge cultural exchange that was really, really cool and just a phenomenal opportunity to be a part of that group. And if the alumni that has gone through that jazz ambassador lineage over the years is just phenomenal. There's a lot of people that you probably don't know about that were part of it. There's been hundreds since, those early days in the 50s. But yeah, that's definitely like a huge 180 compared to the last story I told with my Tokyo adventures.
is that something any jazz musician today can apply for? Is that a program? Because I had never even heard of that program. I've heard of the early program, that Dizzy went on and did Brubeck, but I'd never known that it had carried into the modern day. Is that something that anyone can apply for? I mean, I think that's something most musicians would be really interested in.
Yeah, so it's real easy. You just go to there's a couple people that run it. There's a group called American Voices and American Music Abroad. If you just look up American Music Abroad, they have different programs. And their ambassador program, it's sponsored by the U.S. Department of State, Bureau of Educational and Cultural Affairs. I got that right.
It's a long name. I looked it up.
Yeah. It's like a huge acronym. But if you go look up American Music Abroad, each year they open it up to new submissions. And there's hundreds of groups that audition. You send in like your materials, and then if they're like that, then they send you back a letter and say, hey, we're going to invite you to an audition. So we send in a packet. And we honestly forgot about it. I forgot that we did it. At the time, we were like applying for festivals. We were doing all this different stuff. So, sometimes you apply for that stuff and you totally forget what you did. And then it was like 6 months later, we got an email like, hey, we love your packet. We love your music. Will you come up to Joe's Pub in New York and do this audition for us? You have a 17-minute audition and you play. So they flew us up there, took care of everything. We had 17 minutes of an audition and then literally flew back. We were there less than 24 hours. And like a week later, we found out we made it. And it was a great experience because, you get to be you, and you get the support of the government. You get the support of, I travel with my tuba, and I never get to travel with my tuba. Sometimes I've been on flights where it's been free, and I've been on flights where it's over $800 to check this thing. And they're like, okay, swipe the credit card, no big deal. So, I mean, there's so much bad light on the government, but just because whatever politics you like or don't like, there's so much good going on at the same time that I didn't know existed until we kind of heard about this. And Drew is the one who found out about it. And I think it was like through Jonathan Scales or someone like that was like, hey, you would be really good at this. And, for any jazz musician or any musician in general that's interested, it's largely educational based. So if you're a teacher out there, I mean, this is the thing. And I think there's so many great educators that don't know this exists, and you guys should check it out because it's really a great opportunity. especially if that's what you love to do. And that was just a natural thing. You know, all of us in the group, we teach for a living. We teach and play, and it's probably a 50-50 for all of us. So it was right down our wheelhouse, and a really, really amazing opportunity. And you never know where they're going to send you. It could be anywhere from Afghanistan to Mexico to wherever, you know, and it's really, really fun.